Epic drop.
What's up, my architects and contractors? Today we're here to talk about Blueprints. So Blueprints is a game that came out fairly recently, kind of took the world by storm. I played it, I got wrapped into it, I had my little notepad kind of following everything, and it really is that kind of game that if it is your type of game, it might really engross you. The thing behind the game, if you don't know, it's a very simple premise. Your uncle, I think, passed away. He has a big manor. He gives you the manor. Now the trick is that to be able to, I think, fully inherit the whole thing, you have to make it to a certain room that is at the end of the mansion. You start at the door, the first door, and then you have to basically make it. It's like you have a grid basically, and you start at the bottom of the grid and you try to make it basically to the top of the grid at the very middle. I'll show you on screen, but the goal is to make it to that end. Now, of course, when you get there, you realize that the game has more to offer, but what really set this game apart, and it's a little bit, I think, like The Witness, where it's a game that has it's one puzzle wrapped in another puzzle, wrapped in another puzzle, wrapped in another puzzle. So really, everything is a puzzle. You're just navigating, of course, through the manor is a puzzle to make it. The game has a roguelike element, so things changes every day, and you basically get cards. So you're offered most of the time 3 cards, and those 3 cards are basically going to be the next room that is going to be laid down for you once you open the door, which is the reason why it's cleverly called Blueprints. You are the blueprints laying down the blueprints, and so you're basically making the blueprints of the manor. Manor changes every day. It's kind of like some kind of magical thing doesn't really need an explanation. Doesn't have to be realistic, but it is that feeling of every time you're discovering something, you realize that there's more to discover. You realize that there is no coincidence. Everything is laid down for a reason. And once you start figuring out those reasons, everything becomes more clear and more interesting, and you get just more engrossed into the whole mystery as it unravels, and you just want to get to the middle of it, right? You want to get to the core of it. And oh my God, is the core interesting, and getting there is very interesting. But for a lot of people, this game is in contention, right, to being Game of the Year, which I can see that. I think when it comes to Game of the Year, I always see it as it's a conversation. It's not like one decision that can be made by just one person, because we kind of live in our own bubbles and we see things from a certain point of view. I have games that I like more than other games, and those kind of puzzle games I tend to really like because they're not overtly complicated. It's basically, if you're able to do the first puzzle, it might lead you to a second puzzle, and the difficulty ramp is almost as much as you want, right? It depends on where you're focusing, depends on where you are at the moment. And I appreciate that. You can call it a day once you've reached that room. You can try to investigate for even more mysteries. I try to keep my gameplay as spoiler free as I could, but then I wanted to start a new game, but I was afraid it was actually gonna erase my old game. And I'm pretty sure that nowadays there's like different profiles, but I didn't want to mess with it. Just didn't want to mess with it. So there might be a couple of things there. Hopefully they're very small and granular, but generally it shows you how the game works. You have a number of steps every day, right? And every time you enter into a room, basically it takes away steps. So the more rooms you go to, the less steps you have. So basically you want to be able to make it in as less steps as possible. You want to preserve your steps to be able to explore as much as the mansion as possible, because every room is an opportunity either to gather items that you'll be able to use later on, or it's an opportunity to be able to learn something, face a puzzle that might provide you more information or even more resources. So that's really fun. But when it comes to Game of the Year, especially when you're looking at this year with games like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and we're looking at, other games in contention right now, I think the conversation is actually very interesting for having a game that's like this, that's kind of like by any or every kind of like measurement. It's a lo-fi kind of game. It's an indie game. It doesn't have the greatest graphic, but the idea behind it is really wonderful. It's not the first game to do roguelike. It's not the first game to do puzzles in this kind of way, but to put it together in such a way that is very engrossing and very endearing. And I mean, clearly, if I busted out a notepad for this, it's that kind of game where you really get sucked into it. So for that, you got to give it merits. So I'm glad it's in the conversation because I like to see diversity in the conversation, right? I like to see when we have, like a sim here and a puzzle here, a puzzle game here, an RPG, a big action game, like a Souls-like, whatever the case may be. It makes the conversation just more interesting. All right, now, me personally, I don't like to just give an arbitrary number to a game. You're like, oh, this is a 9, this is this, because it's just the way I feel, one way or another. By the words that I use to describe something, you should know where I stand, right? I love this game. It's not a game that I would recommend to other people, though. Like, it's very hard for me to say to someone that I know they don't play a whole lot of puzzle games, like someone that likes just to digest an adventure game, right? Just want to digest a story. That's not what I would recommend to them to play. I wouldn't be like, oh, you gotta play this. It's like, it's totally gonna be something that you're gonna love. No, if you're not used to playing like those hardcore puzzle game, it might be something that you might be interested in. If you like roguelites and, that's your type, yeah, it might be something that you might be interested in, but it's hard for me. Like, a lot of times for me, a game of the year is also something that I would recommend to most people. Like, as a gamer, I feel like it's almost like, you have to do your, you got to study this. You just got to do your homework on this one. It's not I don't think it has like that kind of mainstream appeal. So that's what's working against it. But yeah, I recommend checking it out if you like puzzle games. It's definitely worth being a conversation. Like, all in all, it's a very good game, if not a little bit obtuse, but just like a little bit. Not too much, just enough of a mystery to be able to, at least you know what you're doing in this game. You know what your goal generally is. So yeah, I think it's a good game. I personally think it's a very, very good game for myself. But you'll have to check it out for yourself. And yeah, it's a conversation kind of game. So let me know what is right now, your game of the year. We know GTA is not coming out this year, so you don't have to hold out too much for that. But we still know that fall is going to bring some big games, right? Some big heavy hitters. Hopefully, I'm not even sure what's coming down the pipeline. We got a whole lot of things coming on, coming forward. So we have South of Midnight. We have Doom. We have Claire Obscure, which I talked about a little bit. We have The Precinct. So that's a whole lot of things to look forward to. A whole lot of things that currently are also part of many conversations when it comes to games right now, doing different things. So, thank you for sticking by and listening to this whole thing. If you made it through this whole thing, use a champ. Subscribe, like, and comment if it pleases you. And as always, as we say up here, have a good one.